Are you looking for a grow tent kit that has everything you need to start growing, can also fit into most rooms, but still has space for multiple plants? If so, the Spider Farmer SF-2000 24" by 47" by 71" grow tent kit may be just what you want. It comes in a single, large box with no markings on the outside to let anyone know what is in here. That is your business, not theirs. You can see that I have decided to unpack and set up this kit out in my workspace, which is great right now, but I am going to have some regrets when it comes time to put the grow tent together. When you open the box, it feels a bit like a grower's Christmas morning, as there is so much packed into here to be opened. First up is a massive 32 feet of 4" flexible ducting. There are 4 5-gallon fabric grow bags, a mechanical timer for your grow light, 3 clamps for the flexible ducting, a bag of netting to scrog the tent with, and an extra set of ratcheting hangers. After that is a box with the adjustable exhaust fan, the box that has the SF-2000 grow light, the thermometer/hygrometer, a box with a carbon filter, and finally, the grow tent itself. Unboxing the fan is straightforward. The little foot only clicks on one way, and after plugging it in to make sure it works, I set it aside. Next up is the carbon filter, which comes with a fabric cover already on it. Here we get to the SF-2000 grow light, which we have already unboxed on this channel, but let's do it again. It is a fantastic light, and it comes with the hanging wires, a pair of ratcheting straps, and the communications cable to connect multiple lights together. Finally, there is the grow tent, and when you go to open this one up, make sure to use something dull to cut the tape, or be careful and only use the very tip of a knife like I am here. It does have a cardboard protector under the seams on both sides, so that will help, but you don't want to slice a hole in your new grow tent before you even get a chance to use it. Now that everything is unboxed, it is time to set up the tent itself, and this is going to be pretty comical. The space I have available in here is pretty small, and the tent is going to barely fit on its side. I really should have waited until the next day to do this in the house, but I was so sure that I would be able to get it done that I just forged right ahead. Just follow the instructions that come with the tent, and you should be able to get it together pretty easily. I, on the other hand, am going to get it together in the most painful way possible, but it does go together in the end. Again, make sure to leave yourself enough room to work, and you will have an easier time than I do here. Once the tent is up, it is time to get everything installed. I'm going to be setting this up with the fan and carbon filter connected, though before I actually use it, I will tape them together. I just can't find my tape right now, and we'll do it later. The kit also comes with these straps, which I forgot to mention earlier, and they are easily able to hold the fan and carbon filter to the ceiling. This setup will suck air through the carbon filter, then through the fan, and then out of the tent with some of the included ductwork. This will take up about a foot of space inside of the tent, however, and if you need that space to grow, you can also put the fan and filter outside of the tent. In that case, you would have the duct coming through one of the holes in the top of the tent, then into your fan, and finally blowing out of the carbon filter. Either way will work, and it just depends on what your space requirements are. Once that was set up, it was time for the lights. I am only using a single pair of ratcheting hangers here, which is what I usually do when the plants are fairly tall. However, the light came with 2 of them, and so did the tent kit, which means you can actually have one on each corner, and that will let you drop the light all the way to the floor if necessary. Again, just set this up per your own requirements. Now that the tent is set up, it is time to get some light readings in here and see how it all performs. At full power, the SF-2000 is drawing 207 watts from the wall. It can be dimmed down to the point that it is only drawing 22 watts from the wall, which is a pretty incredible range. Its outside dimensions are 25.5 inches by 10.5 inches, so it fits well into this grow tent. For the light level tests, we are taking par readings inside of the tent itself with measurements taken every 6 inches. These measurements are all taken with the tent door closed to show what light levels you will see when using it to grow. At a 12-inch height, the par reading in the center is 1,125 with a pretty hard drop-off at the edges as the light is so close to the floor at this point. As I mentioned, this light will pull 207 watts from the wall at full power, and it goes down from there as you dim the dial. At 80, it pulled 153 watts from the wall. At 60, it was pulling 95 watts. At 40, it went down to 63 watts, and at 20, it was pulling 39 watts. Finally, at minimum, it pulled 22 watts from the wall. Moving up to an 18-inch height, and the center reading is now just over 700 par, and the light spread at the edges is a lot better with the light higher from the floor, and the walls are able to reflect some of that light back down. This is where I would set the light for the end of flower, as you want to keep your light levels up, and with only 12 hours of light, that can be a challenge. You want to be sure to have plenty of ventilation going though, as these lights do get warm. We also took par readings with the light dimmed and averaged what the results were, which gives you the par X readings on the left. All of the readings shown on the screen are at full power, and to get the light levels at different dim settings, just multiply the shown par value by that number. For an example, the center reading at 18 inches is 704, but if we have the light set to 60, we would multiply it by 0.45 and get a result of 317, which will get you pretty close with all of the values shown. At a 24-inch height, the center level is down to 560, though the edge levels stay about the same as they were at 18 inches, with the walls being able to reflect more of that light down. In this tent, this is where I would have the light set at full power for the first half of flower, as those are some pretty great numbers after transitioning to a 12-12 schedule. We are still using the Apogee SQ420 Smart Quantum sensor to take all of these measurements, and it is working out really well. It is just the sensor itself and plugs into a PC to get these readings, so it is a bit more affordable than their standalone units. We will leave an Amazon affiliate links to it down below, if that is something that you are interested in checking out. Moving up to 30 inches, and the center reading is at 446, which would be a great place to have it for the veg phase in a tent, especially with how the reflective walls bring up the edge numbers. You could also use the dimming function to achieve these numbers with a lower hanging height, which would save on electricity and heat. It just depends on how wide your canopy is and what your needs are. Getting up to 36 inches, and the center light level is at 410 par with a gradual drop off to the edges. I don't think that most folks would be hanging their light this high, as you can get similar light readings by just dimming the light, but it is an option for those looking to get maximum light spread to cover a larger area. Finally, with the light hung at 48 inches, the center light levels are at 296 par with over 200 par at the far corners. This height gives you some of the best light spread for plants in early veg, and would let you grow a lot of small plants once they are ready for these levels of light. We like to keep our seedlings at around 100 par to start with, but we'll move them up to 250 or so within a couple of weeks once they start getting their first sets of true leaves. This is an amazing starter tent for someone that wants to get into growing, but wants something larger than the 2 foot by 2 foot grow tent that we have checked out previously. You will get very decent light levels for 2 to 6 plants, with room to expand if you want to add more light down the road. You can easily add an additional SF-2000 light in here to bump up the amount of light across the entire canopy, and with the daisy chain function, it is super easy to control them both. If you want to check out this grow tent kit for yourself, we will leave a link to it on the Spider Farmer website in the description down below, and make sure to use code GEEKS at checkout to get a discount on your order. For those that prefer ordering from Amazon, we will leave an Amazon Associates link to it in the description down below as well. Using the Amazon affiliate link helps out the channel as we receive a small portion of the sale for sending you their way.